here we are once again. Another day, another package needs shipping. I've just been doing some editing. I need to run, as I've said now many times, like this is all I do, unfortunately, but I really need to start thinking of other things to like say or do or something. But I have to go to the post office to ship something out. Someone bought 3 pins last night, so I got that ready to go. And then I need to go to Walgreens to grab my medication, which was refilled today. It is freezing, so I need to put on some layers. So there we go. Swap tool for tool. What are you gonna do about it? Not a goddamn thing. Anyway, alright, so yeah, I'm gonna run out and do my errands, and then I will be back for more editing. Hopefully, gonna get this episode up tonight.
A few moments later.
Can you tell that I'm sick? So I just got back from my errands. I went to the post office, I went to Walgreens, got my medicine, and I got a bunch of cold and flu stuff because I definitely got a cold. Last night trying to go to bed was terrible. It's a mail day. Alright, so this first package is from Ryder Design Company. It's funny, I wear it every day, and now I got another one. Ryder Design Company, Maxwell Ryder has been doing some pins for several years. He recently went on a bit of a break, a bit of a hiatus, but he's back. Very exciting, very happy to see him back. So he sent stickers and slaps. That's his logo, RDC. Another sticker of one of his designs. And then I got some pins. More pins to add to the collection that I am photographing, cataloging. So I just added 8 more pins to the collection. So we will start real quick with just a nice simple logo pin. RDC, very cool. Then we have one that I got off his website called Liberty or Death. It's got a pretty cool thing going on here. There's also this super dope pin. What's it called? I don't know if it has a design name on it, but dude, it's awesome. It's this like spinal cord, but with like a sword with like flowers and stuff on it. And it's got the rainbow anodization on it. Yeah, dude, that's dope. I really love that design. A raw or unpainted variant of, this is an artist proof. It's got some like human skulls, like ice cream scoops on a cone. I also grabbed one of his Christmas designs because I really liked the steez of it all. This is an LE35 of a little Santa Claus skeleton guy with the Christmas spirit inside. The design that really caught my eye the first time from RDC was a design called Taste of Death. And it was a bunch of grapes, but the grapes were replaced with skulls. It's so clever. I love this design. Same design, but completely different feeling. Alright, so that was the haul from RDC. Thank you, Max. I really freaking appreciate you. We have one more to open, and this is from my friend and sometimes client, Stone Chakra. He had recently done a giveaway on one of his live streams, and I have a lot of, I've been doing work for him for a couple of years, just off and on stuff. I have a lot of his stuff, so I didn't really want to play along too much, because I was like, well, I don't want to be greedy, and there are plenty of people in the stream that haven't gotten anything from him, but I ended up winning anyway, by the end of the night. Cool, man. He's got some new stickers, new slaps. I'd take that. Stone Chakra. What else? We have a freaking keychain. I was not expecting this at all. Didn't know that he had these made. It's got like a little tassel. That's kind of his like logo, symbol, design. And the main attraction, the thing that I actually won, as far as I know, is a sweet rolling tray. Now, I don't really roll anymore. I used to. But now all of my medicating is done through dabs. This is a cool thing because, so this is his rolling tray, and this is one of the designs that I actually made for him. Yeah, not even like officially. I was kind of bored one day. I had already done some work for him, so I had his logos on hand. I decided to just kind of like play around, see what I could come up with. And then so I made some wallpapers, like desktop background kind of wallpapers of this style, but in like different colorways, different like feelings and moods and stuff. And he ended up really loving at least a few of them, a couple of them anyway. So yeah, so he's been using this kind of design, language, and vibe on some of his merch, which is an honor and super exciting to see. And while I don't roll joints anymore, I know I can find a use for this. It's a cool, handy tray. In fact, I could maybe even turn this into my like keys and wallet tray. I gotta get a shelf. I've said this a couple times, but I definitely gotta get a shelf for over by the door. This is gonna be my keys and wallet tray. So that's cool. Anyway, thank you, my friend. I really, really freaking appreciate you. I'm gonna take some medicine so that I can stop feeling as sick as I feel. And then I'm going to basically just dive back into the edit that I started this morning. Future plans, I have been thinking about telling my story a little bit, at least up into how I got here. Look forward to that, I think, in the next episode. I think I'm going to do a sit-down, kind of like fireside chit-chat. At least a segment of that video will be a little bit of the story of how I ended up in a travel trailer and why. Good morning. It is Friday, January 17th. Currently just after 11. It's 11:23. I was up really late last night. I'm still sick, but I was able to finally get my TV installed. So that's pretty fun. That means that I was laying in bed watching The Fall Guy, which turned out to be a pretty good movie. Until like almost 4 in the morning. That's my bad. So I woke up late. We were headed to the post office. All right, Jezebel, I'll be back shortly. Be a good girl. I'll be right back. Well, the tripod certainly makes it easier for me to get my whole shiz involved. All right, we'll be back. Be good. Stay. All right, well, let's do it. Good afternoon. It is 12:30 on the 17th of January. It's Friday. I was kind of hoping to wait until I get my lav mics and also until I don't sound sick. Lav mics are delayed now another day or two, so I decided I'm just gonna run with it. I am going to attempt to address the last 3 years of my life, roughly, to kind of explain how I ended up here. I'm just trying to think of the best way to run the course of this story. Well, in one aspect, it kind of starts when I was a little kid in high school. On Saturday Night Live, there was a character played by Chris Farley, rest in peace, and this character's name was Matt Foley. Now, if you're my age, you probably recognize the name Matt Foley as an SNL character. For the younger generations and for the people who weren't necessarily in that world, I'll try and throw up a clip.
All right, how's everybody? Now, as your father probably told you, my name is Matt Foley, and I am a motivational speaker.
One of his famous lines was, if you don't button up and fly straight or get your shit together, you're going to end up living in a van down by the river.
Well, I'm here to tell you that you're probably going to find out as you go out there that you're not going to amount to jack squat. You're going to end up eating a steady diet of government cheese and living in a van down by the river. You're going to be doing a lot of doobie rolling when you're living in a van down by the river. Young lady, what do you want to do with your life?
I want to live in a van down by the river.
Well, you'll have plenty of time to live in a van down by the river when you're living in a van down by the river.
And, that never sounded like a threat to me. That never once sounded like a bad idea to me. And, I had this joke with my friend Meg, essentially saying that, oh, okay, all right, I'm down. Someday I'm going to end up in a van down by a river. So, living in this lifestyle has been sort of on my mind, on my radar for many, many years, decades. I've never been opposed to the idea of kind of detaching from the standard, walls and foundation and roof and blah, 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 and all the bills and all that stuff associated with it. If my life had worked out that way, fine. I'm not opposed to living a standardized sort of life. But that's kind of why this channel is called Josh Off Script, because I'm kind of living off script. Even a script that I may have written for myself, or society has written for me, or whatever. So anyway, now let's fast forward a couple of decades. It is now 2021 or 2022. 2021 or 2022, my dad is diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer. He is in his late 70s at the time, mid-70s, sorry. My mom also had cancer. She passed when I was 10 through an unrelated disaster. But, so I'm no stranger to cancer, to, what that really means. My dad was, experiencing a lot of pain and couldn't really lay down, couldn't really sit for very long. So we brought him into the doctors. He gets diagnosed with cancer, and the only thing they can really do for him on his insurance apparently is put him in at-home hospice. So from that point forward, I became his full-time caregiver, living at home with him. Obviously, it just made sense. I was unemployed at the time. I was still working on Pincushion and my other Bricktown Media freelance stuff, but basically unemployed, working from home. So it just made sense that I would be his caregiver. And that went on for about 2 years. I had met someone, and she moved in with me, and she was a great help for a long time. But unfortunately, she also had her own physical and mental illnesses and issues, and things between us eventually kind of fell apart. There was a time where I was living with my dying father and my ex-girlfriend and her kid. So it was a rough patch there. Year or so. It was coming up on December. Now, my mom had passed in 1995 on December 21st, 4 days before Christmas, in a house fire. Here we are now at the end of 2023. We're in December, and we're getting close to that date. I had seen my dad the night before, and he For the last, sorry, I'll go back a little bit. His cancer has progressed now to a point where at-home hospice is not really going to work, right? So we get him into the hospital. He gets into a room. There's no hospice wing for some reason in this hospital. It's a major hospital in a fairly large city, but they can't be bothered apparently to take care of their dying patients. So he gets put in a room with another patient, which to me just was egregious. Like, you cannot have a proper family goodbye to a dying loved one when you have a neighbor snoring in the bed next, like, not even 5 feet away, or not snoring. Maybe they're paying attention. Maybe they're listening. Like, that's just uncomfortable for everybody. So shame on the hospital for not providing that. So I'm in there to see him the night before he passes, and he's been in this hospice wing, or he's been in this room now on a morphine drip that is increasingly getting higher and higher and higher. And they often say that when you're at this stage, it's honestly not the cancer that does the killing in the end, it's the morphine, because they just have to dose you so high on morphine that your body cannot recover. So when I saw him last, he was really out of it. He was kind of there. He made eye contact, but there was never a moment that felt like, oh, this is impending. This is going to be the last time I see him, because he had been fairly stable in that state for about a week. I say goodnight, I kiss him on the forehead, and I make my way back home. The next night, I was going to go to see him again, but again, I felt like I just saw him yesterday. He's stable-ish. Like, I can't imagine tonight's the night, right? But of course, it is the night of December 21st. It's a rough day for me anyway, because I'm bumming out about my mom passing and just trying to process everything that was involved with her. So I should have gone to see him on the 21st. I should have, but I didn't. But what I did do was I took a moment around 11:30 or midnight that night, and in a moment of quietness in my mind, I sat and connected with my dad's energy, if you want to put it that way, where I kind of reached out mentally, said hello, said that I love you, and told him that, on December 21st, it's spiritually stated that it's the thinnest the veil ever will be between the world of the living and the world of the dead. It's the darkest night of the year. It felt fitting. So what I did was I reached out to my dad mentally and energetically, and I said to him, I love you. I know that you've been going through a lot recently. Tonight's the night. If you want to go, if you're ready to go, Mom will be there and she will bring you home. That night, I went to bed, maybe like an hour or two later. My ex was already passed out. And then, I guess my phone had been off or on silent. So around 4:30 in the morning, my ex gets a call. It's the hospital. She wakes me up. And sure enough, on December 21st, 2023, my dad passed away. So that's two parents gone on the same day, 28 years apart. Cool. It's safe to say that the Christmas holiday season has never really been my favorite since I was 10, in large part because of that. So now it's just like, well, if I'm going to pack in the sorrow, why not have it all packed in on one day, right? At that point, I'm on my own. Now, my ex is still living there. Her son is still there. They're doing their own thing, and I'm trying to figure out where I'm headed from here. The standard sort of, parent passing things happen. So his vehicle becomes mine, the house becomes mine, all the bills become mine. Now, I had taken over, once he had gone into hospice 2 years prior, I had started taking over the household anyway, paying the bills, monitoring our income, Social Security, and a pension from the Teamsters. He was a truck driver. It had, fallen on my shoulders to kind of step up the head of household and make sure that the bills are paid on time and the savings isn't completely drained. After about a month after he passed, so January of 2024, it became pretty apparent to me that there was going to be no way that I could float the mortgage and all the bills and any maintenance repairs. The house was 30 plus years old. So, like, if there were things that were going to start to go wrong, it was going to be about then. And we had done plenty of sort of upkeep and repairs on the house in the years prior, obviously. But it just became very, very evident that I wasn't going to be able to afford to keep the house and live any kind of life whatsoever. So I made the choice to sell the house. Now, my dad, again, like I said, he was a truck driver for like 40 plus years. And, you know, he met my mom when I was like 1 or 1.5. They got married by the time I was 2. You know, he basically effectively worked my entire life to have something to pass down to me. There were plenty of times when we had thought about maybe selling the house and getting an apartment somewhere just to live a little cheaper. But, you know, his argument was always, well, okay, but when I die, you're not going to have anything. And, you know, he wasn't really wrong. Yeah, so I decided to sell the house. That was a whole process. It took a solid year, pretty much, from the moment that from when the house went on the market to when it actually sold and I got money in my account. It was almost a full year. Finally, we found some buyers, and everything was groovy. And then we were going to close by like September 25th, 5 days after my birthday. But wouldn't you know it, their bank had some issue for no reason, really, just to be annoying. And that pushed everything back another month. Now we're in November, and finally the closing happens, and I am able to start over. I really feel like the plan was for me to sell the house. I mean, I think if I had a job or a career set up by then, you know, I could have kept the house and that would have been fine. But I didn't, so I think this is what he would have wanted me to do with the house, to sell it and start fresh. So that's what I did. I knew going in, as soon as I decided that I was going to sell the house, there really wasn't an option where I thought I would get an apartment somewhere, because again, my income is few and far between, right? Like, I'm unemployed, self-employed, and struggling in that aspect, trying to break into markets and get seen and get noticed and get clientele. So I thought, you know, putting money down on a different house or on an apartment or a condo, while immediately would have put me under a roof again, which would have been good, it still demanded that I would have to struggle for quite a while, because like I don't have a great resume, I don't have a degree in anything, you know what I mean? So I needed to find the cheapest way to exist, just to live, to keep breathing. How do I spend the least amount of money, but also while taking care of myself? And it was a no-brainer. I immediately thought, well, shoot, I could totally buy a new truck, because the Jeep that I got from my dad after he passed, Jeep Commander, is an 06. It was really rough around the edges and really not good for towing anything. So I thought to myself, all right, I can get a new truck, or I can get a truck. I wasn't expecting to get a brand new truck. And I'll get a camper, and I'll figure it out. And that's what I'm doing. So in November, when the money finally dropped in my account, I went and I bought the truck. My original plan was to stick to around like 60 on a truck, right? I wasn't maybe 65 was like kind of my top end on the truck. I think all told it was like 77 with taxes and fees and everything included. So in overspending on the truck, I had to kind of pare down my ideas on what my travel trailer would be. I had originally looked at a destination model, which is sort of like, it's just a nicer, more home-like kind of feeling of a camper, but they're not really meant to be trucked around every couple of weeks. They're kind of, you go to a camping spot, you're there for a month or two, and then you maybe pick up and you move to a different place or whatever, like something like that. But that was sitting at 42, the one that I had seen, and in the end, that was just going to be too much. So I did some more homework over the next couple of weeks and eventually found this 2019 Shadow Cruiser that I'm currently staying in now. And when I say staying in, I mean I own it. That was one of the things I really wanted to do with this money, was I didn't want to have to worry about financing. Again, I didn't want to have to be beholden to monthly bills as much as possible, because I don't have a monthly steady income. I don't have a weekly income, right? So it's like, I have to take this time now to find said career/income, but for the first few months I can float, and that's what I've been doing. yeah, that's kind of how I ended up here. Life is not what was sold to us in our generation. It just isn't. We were sold a bill of lies and then told to deal with it as we got older and as we realized that, and then we get, life isn't fair. Well, life isn't fair. Okay, good. Life isn't fair. Perfect. We can't try and make it more fair for each other? No? No. Okay. I am now 3 months in, almost 4, I think, and things are going well. Now, I still don't have an income figured out, so I definitely need to get on top of that, but I've been saying that for like a month. I think that's probably covering the story time. I'm not sure what else this video will include, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I'm probably going to DoorDash tonight. I have some food, but it's frozen. I got to thaw it out. So I'm probably going to end up DoorDashing. I could go for some pizza.